to AK App Logics. This is the part 5 video of the Python programming. So in the previous class we have discussed about the Python comments, and then we have discussed about the Python print statement, and then we have discussed about the Python version and Python statement, and then we have discussed about the Python introduction. So this is the part 5 video of the Python programming language. If you guys don't check out those 4 parts, I request you guys to check out those 4 parts and come to this part. Then you can able to have the flow of learning the Python programming language. So without any delay, let's continue with the part 5 of this Python programming language, that is Python variables. We are going to discuss about the Python variables. So variables, what are variables? Variables are nothing but the containers for storing data values. Okay, variables are nothing but the containers for the storing data values. So why we are going to use variables means, so whenever we are going to put the data in the memory, we access, the computer will access the data that is required by computer for a particular task which is assigned by the user or any other program. So it must take it from the data from the whether it from the memory or the IO devices. For the case if it is wanted to take the data from the memory, so the memory first should be filled with the, some data, okay, which is required by the computer at that point of time, right? So what we do is we will store the data into the memory. Okay, the data that is required by the computer will be stored by the stored into the memory. Okay, before running any task it will happen. Okay, so after storing you need to access, right? You need to access the data whenever the time comes. Okay, whenever the time came, you need to access that particular data which you have already stored in it. Okay, so for that you must know the location of this location of that particular data where it is stored in the memory. But in general, the data in the memory will be stored in the random fashion. Okay, for if it is for the one variable, if the data is one data, then you can able to remember that particular address. Okay, if there are thousands of data that is required by you, okay, then you can't able to um, you can't able to remember those thousands of data. Okay, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to use the variables in this case. Okay, then for example, let me show you in the pictorial representation. For example, I am taking a memory. Okay, just a second. For example, this is a memory of locations. This is a memory. Let me stop. For example, let me think that this is a memory. Okay, let me take it as any memory. Okay, so let you just notice that this is the memory. Okay, so we are going to store data, right? So for suppose I'm going to store some data in this particular memory, that is in the form of hexadecimal values. Okay, let me erase this. Storing some data 32H. Okay, in this location we are going to store the 32H, and let us assume this particular data are from 0 0 0 0 H. Its address is 000 H, and how many locations are there here? 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, then it will be 0 0 0 5 H, right? So okay, if you are going to store some data, okay, from 32H to total 6, right? So 38H. Okay, for example, if we assume that uh, 32H is stored in the 0th location, then there is no guarantee in the memory that 33H will be stored in the 01H 0001H location. Okay, 33 may store in the 0005H, and 34 may store in the 0002H. Okay, and so on. The 36 may store in the 35 may store in the 003H. So like this, in this fashion, randomly the data will be stored, okay, in the memory. It always doesn't stored for the next location. Okay, it is not always in the case is not the incremented fashion. So by this, what happens is, if we require thousands of data, okay, we need to remember all these thousands of memory locations and their corresponding data values, right? So we have to remember. It is very difficult for the human to remember this, right? So what we are going to introduce is a variable. Okay, we are going to introduce variables, that is a short form, we are going to call it as vars. Okay, variables. So variables is nothing but, so what we will do is, in our programming, we are going to take a variable name a. Okay, we are going to assign a value, that is 32H, to the variable a. Then what happens is, in the memory for this particular 32 data, where it is present over the 0th location, right? So corresponding, when you are going to call the a, when you are going to use it to call the a, indirectly what you are calling is the 32H, which is present in the this particular 0th location. So instead of using this particular address, it will be very difficult for us to use to remember several number of addresses along with their corresponding data. So this variable makes us easy to call this particular variable. Then we can able to find the data, okay, without involvement of the address. Okay, whenever you are going to call this particular variable, then this particular data will be used by you or the program without involvement of these particular addresses. So in this way, the variable is most useful for the case of uh, this case. Okay, yeah. So let us discuss further. So creating variables, how we are going to create variables in the Python, let us see. So Python has no command for declaring a variable. Okay, so in C, if the what is the declaration for the variable means, first we need to specify the data type. Then we have to, there are two types, one is declaration, another is initialization. Okay, you can declare the variable, and then you can, after you can initialize, or else you can declare and initialize variable at the same time. Okay, in this this is the case in the C language, but in Python there is no any command for declaring a variable. Okay, whenever you are going to take the variable and assigning value, then the variable will be created. Okay, you don't need to specify the data types or any other thing. It's like a simply max, and it is most human understandable than compared to other programming languages. So a variable is created the moment you first assign a value to it. Okay, whenever you are going to assign a value to a particular name, variable name, then itself the variable will be created. Okay, so example, x equal to 5, y is equal to John, print x, print y. Okay, this is an example. Let me execute this particular example and show you. Just a second. So this is an example, x equal to 5. Here x is a variable and 5 is the value which is going to stored in the x, and x represents a one memory location. Okay, one memory location in the memory. Okay, in which memory location it is going to point is in the memory location where the 5 is stored, okay, that particular memory location will be pointed by the x. Okay, remember this point. And y equal to John. So for the for we also seen in the print while we are going to see the print function. So in the print function we are going to use the double quotation marks to print the text, right, which is string. So in the case of variable also, if you want to store the string, then you must use the double quotation marks or the single quotation marks. Okay, so I'm going to print the variables print x and print y. And in Python we are not going to use any semicolons, right? If in case you are going to use semicolon, then it is also valid. Okay, for when we are going to use semicolon means whenever you are wanted to separate two whenever you are wanted to write the two statements on the same line, then you are going to use the semicolon. Okay, let me use semicolon for the first statement and execute this particular code. Let me run this code. So you can see over here there is a Python was not found run with arguments to install. Just a second, let me run Python again. So I think, just a second. So you can see over here we got the output 5 and John. Okay, so we got the output 5 in the one line and John in one line. So we know that the print statement by default uh, adds a new line character at the end, right? So it means it will be shifted to next line after printing the text or the variable value. And also for printing the variables you shouldn't use double quotations. Okay, if you use double quotations, then it will become say string, right? So this point also you have to remember. So this is the thing. So let's move next for the next. So let me show. Variables do not need to declared with any particular type. Okay, yeah, that's the point I have discussed, right? Here we are not going to use any data type, right? We are not discussing about data type. Okay, right, simply we are going to assign the values. Okay, and can even change type after they have been set. Okay, and variables do not need to be declared with any particular type. We are not going to use any beta types over here, and we can change the type after they have been set. We can change that particular type value after they have been set. Okay, so for example this is the integer, right? We can able to change this particular type after declaring. Okay, so that thing we are going to see in the coming process. So next example, x equal to 4 is a type of int, x equal to shally is a type of str means string. So we are going to print x. Okay, so this is the point. Okay, let me execute this code for you and explain the code for better understanding. So let me, something is happened, sorry, just a second. Let me cut this and paste over here. So the thing is, variable do not need to be declared with any particular type and even can change type after they have been set. The first line I have declared the variable x and assigned the value 4. Now it is treated as x is treated as a data type. In the second line I have declared the same x with the shally, which is a string. Okay, it means I have changed the data type of x from int to string, right? So this is valid in Python. Okay, and also we can change any for any type. Okay, in the third case I'm going to use x equal to 7.5. okay, now I'm going to change the x data type from int to string and then to float, right? So I'm going to print the print function print x. So what will be the output? We are going to get the point 7.5, right? So let me show you. So you can see over here we got the 7.5 without any error. So what does this code tells you is you can change your uh, variable data type, and it doesn't mean the data type. You can change the, you can assign different data type value to your variable, okay, at any point of time in the program. For example, if you are going to use if you are going to assign the x equal to 4, okay, first for the x you have assigned the integer value, and next it doesn't mean that you should only assign the integer value x. You can assign any other data type value to the variable x, okay. That's the thing that I have done here. So first case we are going to assign the integer, that is 4, to the x, and in the second case I have assigned the string. So in the third case I have assigned the float. Final what will be there, that particular data type is treated for the x, okay. In the final last step we have assigned x with a float value of 7.5, so that we got the value 7.5, okay. It means now the x is a value, x is a data type of float with value 7.5, right? So that's the point I have going to discuss. So next, let us see about the casting. What is meant by casting? If you want to specify the data type of a variable, this can be done with casting, okay. So by default we don't need any declaring the we are declaring or the mentioning the data type while declaring the variables, okay. So if you want so to make the code more readable and to make the code to understand for the other people who are going to see it, or the for the to make the beginners to understand the code properly. So if you want to specify the data type of a variable while the initialization and the declaring or the assignment of the variable assignment of the value to a variable, then you can do the casting means, example, casting means, if you can see over here str of 3 is a casting, and it means 3 is a string. How can you say that? Because we have used the str is a data type, right? Is a function, right? So here in the second case we are going to use the int of 3, okay. It means 3 is a int over here, and then the third case float 3, we have assigned float 3 to z. Now let's print, let me now let us print the all the three values. Print x comma y comma z, okay. I'm going to use comma, okay. You can use comma operator to separate text and numbers. Similarly you can use the comma operator to print different variables. So let me show you. So in the first case I have taken the x variable and I have assigned the 3, where in this case 3 is a string. So how you gonna say that 3 is a string? Because you have used the string function, str function, okay, which is the casting, okay. That's the meaning of casting, okay. Here the str represent that this particular x variable is a string data type and it is stored with the 3, and whereas here int specifies that this particular y is a integer variable with value 3. Here float represents this particular z is a float with value 3.0, okay. So let me run this code, okay. You got the 3.0. For in the first case this particular 3 is a string data type, okay. In the second case this particular 3 is a integer data type. In the third case this particular 3.0 is a float data type, okay. Remember the point. And you may confuse that some people may use quotations over here, okay. Quotations over here, okay. Let us see what happens if you are going to use quotations. let me run the code and show you the output. So you can see over here there is no any difference. Okay, we can use the quotation, or else without using the quotation also there is no any problem. Okay, it's your wish to use the quotation or not. Okay, yes, that's it. So let's move further. Let me show you how to get the type. Okay, get the type in the sense there is a variable, we have assigned the variable with a value. Okay, to know the what data type is that particular variable. Okay, you need to use the type function. Let us see with an example, then only you can able to understand. We can get the data type of a variable with the type function. Okay, type is a function which is used to get the data type of the variable. Why we are going to use the type function means, because there is some case in the python I have already told you, right? For declaring or the for the assigning the value to a variable, or the whenever we are going to assign a value to the name variable name, then itself the variable will be created, and we don't need any specifying the data type, right? So but you may get confused. Okay, what is this particular variable data type is? So you get the confusion, right? When you are going to see your friends or some other clients code, then you get confusion, what is this particular variable data type is. So then you need to use this particular type function. Okay, so example, x equal to 5, y is equal to John, print type of x, print type of y. Okay, so let me run this particular code. So x equal to 5 and y is equal to John. By seeing x equal to 5, you can able to say that it is an integer data type, and y equal to John, we can say it is a string data type. But someone who don't know about the coding, have any coding knowledge, or any other person to make them prove, yeah, x is a integer data type and y is a string data type, you need to use this particular type function, printf type of x, type of y. Okay, let me run this particular code for you and show you the output. So what happens, we can see the output. Just a second. Class int class str. Okay, class int class str. Okay, it means x is a integer and y is a str means string. Okay, in this way we can able to check the type of the variable. Next, string variables can be declared either by using single quotation or double quotation. This is the point I have discussed previously, right? String variables can able to declared by using single or double quotations. So x equal to John is same as the x equal to John. Okay, that's the point. Remember this point. Okay, yeah. Case sensitive. Variable names are case sensitive in the Python. Okay, they are not. Capital A is not equal to the small a in the case of variable names in the Python. Okay, it means, for example, variable names are case sensitive. Example, this particular example, create two variables, a equal to small a is equal to 4, capital A is equal to shall a. Here this particular a and this particular capital A are not equal. Okay, they are two different variables. Okay, that's the meaning of the case sensitive. In the previous case we have changed it, right? After creating a equal to 4, we have assigned John, and then we have assigned 7.5. Then for the x is changed to the float data type, and we got the 7.5 as result. Okay, but in this case, if you are going to print the capital A, then you won't get the if you are going to print the small a, then you won't get the shall a, it will get the 4. Why? Because here capital A and small a are both are not equal, because it's a case sensitive. That's the meaning of a will not overrate a. Okay, in this previous case, a is overrated the a, where in that case both the a's are the small, both the x's are the small. First case we have used the x equal to 4, and second case we have used the x equal to John. In the third case we have used the 7.5. Okay, the x is overrated the both the string and integer. Okay, integer value, string value John, and the integer value 4, and assigned with the value 7.5 in the previous case. But in this case, both one is uh, small letter and another is a capital letter. So in this case it's not possible, and a will not override a. Okay, next, that's it. So that's it, the thing. So I hope I have discussed everything perfect. So let me show you this example for you. So print a. Okay, I'm going to print the a. Okay, I have used the small a, right? So let me print the a. So you now the output will be shally, right? We get the shally. But why we got the shally is because we have used the both the variables as a small letters, and this particular integer value 4 is override this particular string value, that is shally, which is declared after the statement a equal to 4, so that this particular shally is overrated the integer value 4 which is stored in the a, right? So if you are going to use the a, capital A, will it overwrite like this previous? Let's see. Will it overwrite? No. We got the value 4. But what you are going to expect? We are going to expect shally. Why? Because both are A's, right? But we got the 4. It means here this particular variable is separate and this particular variable is separate, and A is not equal to the small a. So that what we can going to say, variables in Python are case sensitive. So I hope you got my point. That's it. That's it for today. If you have any doubts, please comment, and if you need any improvement in my teaching, then also please comment. And if you find this video valuable, please like, share and subscribe, and thank you.